Okay. I hope I'm coming in all right. It's me again, Zilch, and I'm gonna try to. I've been having all kinds of issues with my home network, my clients, software clients, my connection to the internet, clients. It's been a mess. It's been a mess. It's the only way to really put it. So what I'm gonna do is just do a little bit of dogfighting in Star Citizen and hope it holds and look into some Metroid Metal and blow shit up. And unfortunately, I may be kicked out. I may go dark just suddenly without warning, just shut off. If that does happen, then my apologies. But I don't want to, because of that risk, I don't want to spoil anybody else's fun by dropping out of a online match. So I'm just going to play single player for a while. And to make it a little fun, we're going to fly the Merlin. The Merlin is a cool little ship, I gotta say. I'm kind of a fan of it. Um, I do like lighter, smaller, more agile, maneuverable kind of ships, but so that's got that going for it. But what I like about the Merlin is that it's very capable, but I would say it's it's smooth and it's easy to fly. However, to succeed in it, you have to fly it because it's got a lot of limitations. It's a small target. It's got that going for it, but compared to the M50, which is my usual ride, it's very limited. There's no missiles, which who cares? But the biggest problem is that the fuel doesn't regenerate after use, so you have to be very judicious with it.
Vandal swarm initiated.
And I'll talk about that as I go.
Warning. There are multiple hostiles inbound.
Easy to fly, difficult to fly effectively. Put it that way. You really have to. Let me adjust the volume levels here. That should do it. You can't rely on the ship to win for you. You have to fly good tactics. You have to think ahead a lot. Still a little bit loud. Okay, now we can hear it again. I already lost my wingman to asteroids? Well, that's interesting. I'll just have to get him back. That looks hairy. Yikes. Anyway, let's talk about the Merlin, right? You can see, you kind of get a general idea of its capabilities here, but fast enough, but not the fastest. It's agile, but you can't just abuse the thrusters. There are shields there, but they're really just there to give you a warning that you got fire coming in. You cannot rely on them. The weapons are fairly light, which means, I mean, they're enough to kill a fighter, but you can't miss. You have to be accurate. So what I'm saying is that if you want to get good at Star Citizen and dogfighting and stuff like that, my opinion, this is the single best ship to train some good habits into your tactics. Because if you know what I see a lot of people doing, and I think it's from playing a lot of RPG type or games with RPG elements where stats tend to determine who's going to win, and they do matter. You can't make a ship go faster than its top speed, and you can't make it hit harder than its weapons allow. However, this is not a game that's all about stats. This is a game about your skill. It's a skill-based game, right? So if you're in an inferior ship like this one and you're flying against a shittier pilot, but you're better than him, you should be able to, through the use of good tactics, good judgment, reflexes, and a bit of luck, you should be able to win. Or at least give him a hard time, or at least scare him off, or be competitive. So I sound like a broken record in that respect, but what I see a lot of is people, they'll buy a Saber, Hornet especially, a Gladiator, something big and bigger and heavier, or even something fast and light and small, and count on that speed to win the fight for you, or the armor to win the fight for you, or the guns, and that's totally that's a client crash for one thing, but that's a fallacy. That's a mistake. Don't do that. Do not make the mistake of thinking your ship is going to win the fight for you. You have to have sound tactics. You have to have a bit of practice and some decent aim. You have to have a little bit of feel for what your opponent's going to do, and what you plan 3 moves ahead. What his most likely next 3 moves are going to be, and you, being one step ahead of him, planning ahead, thinking ahead of his OODA loop, you can be able to be there before he does and get him. Sorry, I got to restart the client here. But you get the idea of what I'm saying, right? So the Merlin, because it doesn't have any great advantages over anyone, even if you do Vandal Swarm, or you do Battle Royale and you get your ass kicked in the Merlin, or whatever, because you have to think ahead, because you don't have that booster to correct your mistakes. You don't have the shields to cover your sloppy flying and flying it right in the middle of crossfire. You don't have the weapons to scare people off. You don't have any of that shit. You have to make everything count. Every turn, every move, every evasive, every attack has to count. Every shot. So, at the price point of, what, $30 or something like that, if you really want to get good at dogfighting, you want to get a feel for the flight mechanics and stuff like that, you want to train to be better, the Merlin is going to be your jam. Rent one, buy one, whatever you got to do. I really think a lot of it. And then when you move into a ship with stronger attributes in one respect or another, better firepower, better speed, agility, shields, whatever you want, you're just going to be that much more ahead of the game. You'll know not to rely on that, but you're going to have that as another tool in your, kind of tactical arsenal. Kind of sticking with the thesis of tactics over technology. I'm going to turn the volume down just a smidgen. And get back into the Merlin. Yeah, I think I may have automatically selected the M50 kind of out of habit. That's probably what I did. I don't remember doing it, but I'm guessing I did. Metroid Metal by Stemage. Check it out. Badass. You can download it all for free. MetroidMetal.com, I believe. Conveniently named. And it's one guy. One guy did all of this. Guitars, bass, drums, everything. And he's got his own like band, I guess, which is just him. He does the vocals and everything. He's a very talented individual.
Warning. There are multiple hostiles inbound.
Anyway. Now, the biggest problem I have with the Merlin is actually, you'll find out later. Its weakest like regime is defending against missiles. Because it doesn't have any countermeasures, but since countermeasures aren't working right in this patch, it doesn't matter so much. Especially if you're defending against more than one missile, you gotta be on your game. Thing is, from a training perspective, whether you get shot down or not matters less than what you learn from the encounter. So when I fly the Merlin, I kind of think, of course I want to win, I'm going to do everything possible to do that, but if and when I make mistakes, that's going to be the important thing. You know, hey, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? What can I try next time to avoid that situation, or should I find myself in it? How to get out of it.
Zero hostile contact remaining.
My hair's all messed up. Yeah, whatever. Who cares?
There are multiple hostiles inbound.
As you can see, as a dogfighter, this thing's a pretty nasty little surprise, I think. I think people underestimate this thing. In the right hands, it's going to be really nasty. Competitive for sure, and in the right hands, possibly devastating. Against a fighter. I don't know if I'd want to fly it against larger ships, but larger ships being like Constellation or bigger, I just don't think it's got the firepower to scratch it. Excuse me. Maybe with some ballistics, with long-range ballistics. Possibly. I just wouldn't want to get close to anything with a lot of repeaters spraying everywhere, because it doesn't take a whole lot of shots to kill this thing. Tourniquet. I'm using the stock loadout, which is two M3A laser cannons, size 1s. These are puny. And the proprietary Tiger Streak, size 2 Gatling cannon in the nose. Normally, when I first got this, I was like, well, I'm going to fly it like an M50. I'm going to arm it with neutron cannon. And that works, but the problem is, unlike the M50, you don't have that quick reaction, brake, turn, jet in the other direction kind of thing. So this thing kind of flows and glides into flight paths rather than being able to dart around. What that means is getting in close to a target as it explodes, as it is in the M50, is extremely dangerous. So if you're getting in close for those neutron cannon shots, you may not be able to get away to avoid the debris, which is true in the M50 as well, but doubly so in this. Further, I don't think it's quite fast enough. You can't use afterburner or boost so much to jet in, make your attack, and break away. So, kind of the boom and zoom flow into knife fight and back out of it. It's not really. I haven't been successful with it, but try it and see what happens. The M3As are actually, as it turns out, fairly adequate. I was actually watching Buyer of Red's stream, I think it was a couple months ago, about this. I was like, hey, why are you using those M3As or whatever? They're a piece of shit. They're size 1. They don't do much damage. They just piss people off rather than kill them. And his reply was, well, they're basically unlimited ammo and shots. You can lay down fire the whole time and not worry about overheating. You don't have to worry about energy, any of that stuff. It's just always there. So you can put up a constant stream of fire and still do some amount of damage. So that's cool. Now, depending on the ship, that may not be what you want to do. Like in the M50, I don't like to be. Well, okay, while you're attacking, you've got your gun sight on a guy here. You boom, 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 boom. You shoot, 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 shoot. That locks you into that pursuit curve, unless you want to break your attack away. So the whole time you're firing, you're vulnerable. So if you're gonna use this kind of weapon, you really have to pay attention to your shields, your sensors, and look back behind you every now and then. Because most there are three things that kill me. Number one, beyond anything else, are rocks, debris, just things, objects in space, especially ships I've just killed more than anything else. Two will probably be enemy ships, but they're almost always, if they're going to kill me, they're going to kill me while I'm attacking somebody else. I'm getting that target fixation. I really want to kill the thing. I'll get like a, I went to a bird sanctuary once, and they had a peregrine falcon whose beak was all jacked up, and they said he ran into a fence. I was like, I asked one of the people there, I'm like, hey, how does a falcon, they have really good vision, reflexes, and they're excellent flyers. How does a falcon run into a fence? Like, he could have seen that literally a mile away. And I was told that the falcon gets so focused on its prey while it's chasing it. It gets target fixation, basically, the same way we do. And it's so focused on that, rabbit or dove or whatever, that it ignores everything else, and that's how it ran into the fence. So avoid doing that while you're playing Star Citizen. You can be the Mighty Falcon, but also be aware that the Mighty Falcon can still run into a bush. Shit. Like that. I almost ate it right there. So, what I was saying is, if you're going to use this kind of weapon, and which requires you to latch onto your target, just as tempting as it is to like focus your vision and your attention down onto that one thing, you want to unfortunately have to divide your attention between attack and defense. Now, there may be better weapons that I like more for this ship, but I haven't had a chance to really try a whole lot out. You're limited because it's all size 1 stuff. Also, I think it might be limited to size 1 energy weapons, because I've tried to put the sledge mass driver, the size 1 on, and it won't take it. So there may not be an ammo feed mechanism or something. I don't know why. Maybe it's a bug. You also try the long swords if you want. The Badger repeaters, or Bulldogs, can't remember which is the size 1. You could also try the, I don't know, what other size 1 energy weapons are there? It's been a while since I looked at the store page. Ship does seem to have adequate braking power, though, for its speed. It's pretty good. Ah, blue on blue. I can't see shit.
Warning. You are approaching the boundary.
Ace wave inbound.
Contacts remaining. Contact. Elite units en route.
There's our target. Okay, one thing I've been kind of experimenting with is what I want to call BCM, ballistic countermeasures. So, damn it, yeah, it's not working so far. Yay. Where's that missile? That is now my priority. So beam defense, or putting that missile on the beam and flying perpendicular to it seems to be fairly effective. Harder to do if there's more than one missile inbound. Strafing sideways is what I do in the M50. I'll put it on my nose and strafe sideways, but I don't think this Merlin has that kind of strafing authority. So I got to put it on my beam, put it on my 3-9 line, and then look sideways. Because you got to keep eyes on it so you can make evasives, but you also need to fly perpendicular to its flight path. So that seems to be so far the best way to deal with it that I can come up with. Alright, scratch one. But like I was saying, I was saying this has really light firepower. It's got 2 size 1s and a size 2. And the size 1s it has don't hit very hard. What that means is... means your client crashes.